escalator immediately in front of you will take you to the upper level. Escalators to the rear will take you to the mezzanine and lower levels. Level sign indicators are above all escalators for your convenience. Please watch your step and enjoy the game.
History was made on October the 10th, 1976, when the New York Giants officially opened their spectacular new stadium. The soaring concrete and steel structure, only 6.5 miles from the heart of mid-Manhattan, is considered by the Giants to be the finest football facility in the world. A record home crowd gathered for the stadium's inaugural. Outside, tailgating party competitions took place in the vast parking lots, while inside, 76,042 fans enjoyed the official opening day ceremonies. They included the dedication and unveiling of the stadium plaque and the introduction of the very first Giant teams to play in both the Polo Grounds and Yankee Stadium.
Gentlemen, Pat Summerall.
Thank you, Bob. Welcome to Giant Stadium. We're going to go back in Giant history a little bit this afternoon.
The biggest cheers of many that day were reserved for the introduction of the Giants' 1956 championship team. In attendance were Rosie Greer, Jack Stroud, Roosevelt Brown, and the Giants' great superstar backfield of that era.
Leading passer for the Giants, Charlie Connolly. The offensive captain of the 1956 team, number 44, Kyle Rote. Mr. Offense, the Giants' all-time touchdown leader, number 16, Frank Gifford. 9 times an All-Pro, also a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, right in Andy Rostelli. Thank you all very much for coming. And good luck to the Giants in 1976.
Unfortunately, the 76 Giants could have used some good luck. They began the season with 9 consecutive losses, worst ever for a Giant team. In the season's second half, a coaching change was made, and they finished fast, winning 3 of their final 5 games. Indeed, their strong second season gave the Giants hope for a fine future in their new stadium. This is the story of that season. The Giants' season began in Washington on a September afternoon that was as bright as the team's prospects for a successful 1976. Under Bill Arnsparger, New York had added several new players, and things appeared to bode well for the team despite a brutal schedule, the toughest in the league. The first hurdle was arch-rival Washington, a team the Giants had never beaten under George Allen. So strong was their motivation, many players vowed they would not shave until Allen's mastery was ended. The biggest and most publicized off-season acquisition for New York was Larry Zonka. And against Washington, the former Dolphin fullback softened the middle of the Redskin defense enough to open up the passing lanes for the Giant air attack. Craig Morton threw touchdown bombs of 62 and 63 yards, and it appeared the Giants would beat an Allen-coached team for the first time in 14 tries. Besides an explosive offense, New York unveiled a two-fisted defense that halted Washington's running attack in its tracks. Playing with unbridled enthusiasm, The defense held the Skins to merely 89 yards on the ground and produced 3 sacks and 2 fumbles for more than 59 minutes. The Giants held Washington's high-priced attack to merely 12 points, while scoring 17 of their own. But ironically, it was the defense that opened the doors to defeat. Kilmer had been put out of the game on a crunching sack by Jack Gregory. But showing the kind of guts money can't buy, the courageous quarterback returned with 1 minute remaining. And there the sun set on the Giants' hopes of an upset. Kilmer rallied his team downfield, and with 49 seconds left, George Allen rubbed his magic lantern one final time. Washington's incredible last-second win was a devastating blow to a young Giants team. In truth, it was a defeat so painful, it took nearly a half a season to recover from its effects. The Giants had lost to Washington by 2 points, and the Beards would remain. Thus began a long streak of losses, where the Giants often came close, but always were short of the mark, sometimes by inches. Loss after loss piled up as the offense couldn't buy its way into the end zone. Matters were to get worse before they got better, as frustration mounted for fans and players alike. There were some bright spots in this dismal first half of the season, however. One came in the 5th week when the new stadium was opened before a record 76,000 fans who witnessed a dazzling aerial duel between the Giants and Dallas Cowboys. Number 85, rookie wide receiver Jimmy Robinson scored an exciting and historic first touchdown on the new stadium, but the Giants fell victim to injuries. Both starting cornerbacks were out for the year with knee surgery, and Roger Staubach had a field day against a patchwork secondary. Giants lost by 10 points. 3 weeks later, Arnsparger was out, and John McVay took over as head coach. Matters were slow to improve as the Giant offense continued having problems getting into the end zone. Against Philadelphia in the 8th game, this pass to Jimmy Robinson was as close to scoring New York came as the Giants suffered a second straight shutout, 10-0. It was the first time the team had been double whitewashed since 1932. It was an inauspicious debut for John McVay. The next week, again, New York failed to score a touchdown when Craig Morton was blindsided near the Dallas goal. The Giants suffered a 9-3 loss to the Cowboys, their 9th straight defeat. The next Sunday, with Morton out and some new acquisitions just getting to know each other, John McVay's team went without a touchdown for the 4th successive game. Throughout it all, the play of the Giant defense remained at a high level. It was the offense that was letting the team down. But against arch-rival Washington, the smallest giant, Joe Danello, had a hot foot in a field goal duel. Danello's kicking gave the Giants a 9-9 tie until 4.5 minutes remained in the game. Then the little kicker broke the tie with a 50-yarder that put the Giants in a 3-point lead. But still, the game was up for grabs as Washington came roaring downfield, and with 41 seconds showing, were poised for a score on New York's 7-yard line. It was up to the Giants' tenacious defense to save the game. Jim Stanky's end-zone interception won the game, and the longest losing streak in the Giants' 52-year history was over. The upset victory was the first in the history of the Meadowlands Stadium, and the first for head coach John McVay. The Giants defeated their bitterest rivals without scoring a touchdown, and had beaten George Allen for the very first time. The beards could finally come off. As the Giants pranced gleefully on the field, the new ballpark rocked to the tune of victory. Sweet victory. For this week at least, the frustrations of the season were forgotten. The next week in Denver, the Giants scored their first touchdown in 5 games. But a blocked extra point was the difference as the team lost to the Broncos by a single point. The next Sunday, with rookie middle linebacker Harry Carson, number 53, and rookie defensive tackle Troy Archer, number 77, leading the way, the defense excelled with 3 sacks and 3 interceptions against Seattle. In this game, another rookie made his mark. Scatback Gordy Bell, showing great balance, scored 2 touchdowns in his first start as a pro. Another Giant rookie made his presence felt on offense as Ed Marshall started at receiver and caught a touchdown pass. The Giants' attack racked up a season-high 28 points, and John McVay had his second win of the year. Things were definitely looking up for the New York Giants. One week later, the attack moved into an even higher gear against Detroit. Greg Morton threw for 2 touchdowns to Ed Marshall, as the Giants gained nearly 400 yards and scored 24 points against the NFL's number 1 rated defense. The upset was the 3rd straight win in Giants Stadium, and the team's drive for respectability continued. The final game against St. Louis was crucial, for every member of the squad wanted to win for John McVay, whom they hoped would be rehired. The big play for New York was made by Brad Van Pelt, whose fumble recovery and run set up the first of 2 Giant touchdowns. The Giants led the Cardinals until late in the final quarter. Then, just when it seemed upset number 3 was in the making, St. Louis was at the Giant goal line. And though the defense held for 2 successive cracks, the inevitable soon occurred. St. Louis had the win they desperately needed to stay in contention for a playoff berth, and New York had suffered another close defeat. But John McVay's team finished the second half of the season with a respectable record of 3 wins and 4 narrow losses, all of them by a combined total of only 20 points. In a highly popular move, John McVay was rewarded with a 2-year contract. His biggest decision will come at quarterback, where Dennis Shaw, Jerry Goldstein, and Steve Ramsey will vie for a starting role. McVay's top priority will be to pump up an attack which was inconsistent at times, to say the least. McVay feels he has some fine receivers in rookie surprise Jimmy Robinson, leading pass catcher Bob Tucker, and holdover Ray Rhodes. But perhaps the strongest area of offense is at running back, where Gordy Bell was a high-flying rookie with reams of promise. Doug Coder led the team in rushing with a fine 731-yard season, in addition to catching 36 passes. Coder's hustling, never-say-die style of play makes him a huge fan favorite. But much of the improvement on offense lies with Larry Zonka, who went down with a knee injury late in the season. When he was healthy, Zonk still showed the bruising, battering style that made him the finest fullback in the NFL. According to McVay, there's plenty of talent on the offensive line. It'll be my job to find the right combination. The talent is there. Throughout the Giants' roller coaster season of '76, it was the defense that carried the load. At one point, they produced a string of 10 straight quarters without yielding a touchdown. The irony is that it was a unit devastated by a staggering string of injuries. The defense lost both its starting cornerbacks, Bobby Brooks and Henry Stuckey, for the year, as well as Robert Giblin, Charlie Ford and Jim Peterzak, Bob Schmidt and Jack Gregory. On the offensive side of the ledger, besides Zonka, Tom Mullen and promising rookie Jerry Goldstein were lost for the year. Things got so bad that even kicker Joe Danello went on the injury list. But the reserves, particularly on defense, came to the fore with some heads-up play. Standouts in the injury-riddled secondary were Clyde Powers and Jim Stanky, number 20, who had a fine season at both corner and safety. Big contributors were steady 4-year veteran Brian Kelly, number 55, at right linebacker, And number 75, improving, second-year defensive end George Martin. Martin's counterpart at the end position, Jack Gregory, was lost near the end of the season with an injured knee. But the steadiest and most spectacular player on the line was once again number 64, John Mendenhall. With his gut toughness and amazing lateral speed, Mendenhall was a terror on defense, using his uncommon combination of agility and sheer strength to get to the quarterback from his tackle position. The Giants picked two plums from the draft in Troy Archer and Harry Carson, their number 1 and 2 choices. Carson, number 53, is considered to have the potential to be the league's next great middle linebacker. At 6'2" and 240 pounds with a large streak of mean, Carson put fear into the eyes of enemy ball carriers with his rugged style of play. The team's top pick, tackle Troy Archer, is another that McVay will build with as a nucleus for future Giants teams. With Archer, Carson, and Mendenhall in the middle, the Giants should be strong where it counts most for years to come. No one on the entire squad had a better season than Brad Van Pelt, the Giants' all-pro linebacker. Number 10 possesses the speed to lead the blitz and the strength to stop a runner like Franco Harris in his own backfield. Van Pelt is an extraordinary natural athlete who personifies what the Giants and John McVay are looking for in professional football players. Next season, under their energetic and enthusiastic head coach, the Giants organization expects to continue the improvement it showed in the second half of 1976. Under McVay's leadership, the players responded by working hard, enjoying the game, and playing immeasurably better football. Next year, McVay will use the credentials he established with the team in his first year to make his second season an even more successful one.